Hey everybody, welcome to Music Firsthand Live Streaming Showcase. We're live here in Austin, Texas. I'm Chris Petrafka, your host, but actually Becky Jo Neal is the host.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me again. This is show 21.
That's right, show number 21.
Our show can drink.
Woo!
Yay!
We've been slipping them a while. They've been good. We have a full studio audience.
We do have a full
tonight.
studio audience.
Yeah.
This is great.
Super
Yes.
exciting. Super exciting.
I know. We're gonna, and hey, so if you're tuned in, if you're watching now, or if you hop on later, please like and share the program. That's really what keeps it going. We're a group of volunteers, and we do this because we love local artists. We love helping them connect with their fans. And so please like and share and send in your questions as well. Our show is notoriously weird, so the weirder the question, the more likely I'm going to ask it, right?
Yes. The weirder the better, please.
That's right.
It's always a challenge.
So hey, we're so excited to be here. With no further ado, let me bring to you Aimee Bobruk.
Hummingbird hovering in morning dawn, wings at attack, beating out a song. Her heart is willing, but it won't let go. Amanishko. He sees her reflection in the glass, a tiny little red throat stuck in the past, and through her veins a dark sugar flows. Amanishko. Pulled like a magnet, shot like a dart, thrashing at splinters, flying straight to his heart. She pierces deep and drinks in slow. Amanishko. Thank you.
We have a packed house tonight, so if you've just tuned in, we're with Aimee Bobruk, and we're really excited to have you on the show, so thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Exciting.
Yeah,
Now,
this
we
is
were
great.
talking a little bit before we came on. You were stalling. It was bad. I'm sorry we were a little late. Is it off?
Oh yeah,
No,
there we go.
It is off. This whole time. The whole time. The whole time.
We
All right.
sometimes do that to her. Like we've gone whole shows, we're like, that's not just not even turn on her mic.
No one ever does. Damn it. All right, back to what I was saying. Earlier before we went on, I was talking to her about we have a mutual friend at Originator Studios, which is a studio on the east side that does a bunch of different kinds of media. And I was asking her about a video you just shot. Would you like to talk about that before it, like...
Sure. Yeah, we
Cool.
shot a video actually of the song that I just sang, titled Amanishko, which is a made-up word, kind of inspired by Roger Miller's Do-Wacka-Do.
Like that.
And yeah, the Originator has a great studio over on the east side of Austin, and we went in and recorded 2 live music videos that should be being edited and released very soon. I don't have an official date, but
Right, this is me like putting a fire under our friend's ass. Like, get it done. It'll be great if you guys could all see that video. Hint, hint.
And Mario's totally tagging them right now too.
Oh, right.
He's on it.
No, they're great. I love them. Willie, shout out to Willie. He's great.
And that one and that video are songs from my most recent album, the Bobruk, the self-titled.
Yeah. And that came out in 2013, 2014.
Yes,
Yeah. 2013. Yeah, that's right. Which was also got lots of accolades. It was a great album.
It was received warmly by the Austin community and
that's right.
and beyond. Yeah.
Yeah, you started in Austin community in 2003, right?
Yeah, officially. Yeah.
Is it like immensely different?
I think so. I think most people would say that there's clearly been a lot of growth. A lot of tall buildings with many rooms being built.
Literal growth.
More
Growth
traffic.
of the building.
Steel.
That there is, yeah.
Yep.
That's okay, but I mean, the music community, I think, is the richer for it. I mean, there's many still new musicians that I'm being introduced to, and I think the music scene is still very, very vibrant.
Good.
But it's different.
Yeah.
Everybody has their if they've been here long enough, everybody's like, when Austin was.
Yeah.
Right.
The olden days. You remember when you could
The days of the week.
We've
Friday
had those
night.
folks on our show. We know. Yeah, we're good.
Just try to embrace it how it is. I
Yes.
think there's some. I've started riding my bike more recently.
Yeah.
My bicycle, and I got
Good
a
thing
motorcycle.
about traffic.
I got a motorcycle because I didn't want to deal with traffic.
There we go.
That's
So
the
look
same
at that.
reason I have one. Yes.
New adventures, new navigations
That's
of the
right.
world.
Yeah.
All this growth got me
Parking
spending
is
money on a
great.
motorbike.
Yeah. I hear all the traffic, and I'm just like, no, I just go downtown and park. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
You people and your like death traps.
Yeah.
Nope. I have like a wimpy bike that doesn't even climb. So that's my excuse for not riding it anywhere. Is that it doesn't have gears. I can't ride it there. Nope. That's just me being fat.
But it has pedals? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I live at the base of Riverside and Old Torf. Like, no. Or Pleasant Valley and Old Torf. That's just like a bowl.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't get out of
That
that.
is pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah.
You need to buy a bike with a motor on it.
Yeah, to kill myself with.
That's true. Maybe
He doesn't
not.
want to co-host anymore, ladies
I know
and
your
gentlemen.
mom is
He's trying
watching
to
the
replace
show.
Me.
and
Probably.
She doesn't want that.
She's going to be like, don't you dare get her a
Yeah.
bike. No, she doesn't need a
I
bike.
have a question back to the video, though, because we were jumping around a little bit.
Yes.
And so how long does that process take? What's all involved in pulling together that video? Because it's one, I know it's expensive, right? It takes some time.
That one is a kind of a different approach. That was more of a bring your band in and record live for a handful of songs.
A little easier.
It wasn't it's not like let's go out and shoot all this footage and here's a narrative storyline and hire the film crew and do that. I've done that before, which is, I love telling a story, but it's like filmmaking is so different too. It's it can feel very overwhelming. But this was with Originator Studios. It was a straight up like set up your live band and we're gonna take the song 3 times and we're gonna have a live edit from there, which was pretty cool. It kind of was very pro run and I like it. So. And
now I've only seen you perform solo. So then tell me about the band. Who's in the band?
Donnie Wynn is my drummer and percussionist, and Brian Beatty plays bass, electric bass, and then I'm on electric guitar and singing. Occasionally on larger shows, I'll have some backup singers as well as an additional guitarist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge too, right? Pulling together the whole band is just another one of those challenges we face as artists.
Is it like a venue thing? You know, like. If it's a smaller spot, you don't want to bring like the whole.
Well, yeah, and it's economics as well.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
That's what it comes down to,
Just
right?
balling on a budget.
I mean, it.
Right.
You know, there's certain gigs I actually prefer to do, private house parties and things. I realize that most often it usually works best in a solo or duo setting. It's just a little warmer, and unless it's some ginormous backyard party type thing. I have gotten a few wedding requests. Sometimes I write custom wedding songs for people.
Cute.
Nice.
So
That's beautiful.
I've been flown out to San Francisco before to write a How Did You Meet love story song.
That is
and that was
Adorable.
a lot of fun. That was right up my alley. And I mean, my music tends to be pretty mellow, kind of dark around the edges. So, you know, if you want that sort of thing at your party to rock out to, you know, some people want something super bouncy and happy, and that is not me. So.
But it's very creative, obviously, and that's part of the brand as well. And I think that as I listen to a lot of your music, you're exploring, you're testing out sort of different limits of that. It's not a traditional sort of sound that you hear every day.
I hope that I'm just being true to myself as a writer.
Yeah.
I've right now I've been caught up a lot on concepts, so I have 3 main projects going on right now. So from the last release, which was like a self-titled album, I'm in the middle of 2 EPs right now with Brian Beatty that'll come out next year. One is songs inspired by the Mississippi River, and we're halfway through with that one. And the other EP is songs inspired by my favorite author, Carson McCullers. And we're halfway through that one. So they're both conceptual. And then on top of that, I'm doing a project where I ride my motorcycle along the Texas border called the Texas Border Project. So I'll be getting on my Scrambler Ducati and riding from basically Brownsville to El Paso in a 9-day trip with 2 filmmakers and a couple friends. I'm doing some informal interviews, and I'm taking some tiny microphones to record sounds of bridges and birds, and all of it will culminate in an art exhibit at the September of next year. So I'm actually got a small grant from the city of Austin. So the city of Austin is behind me, and you can be too if you go to the TexasBorderProject.com.
Boom.
RTX
Plug.
Border Project on Facebook.
Get on that, Mario.
Yeah.
We're
Google
about to
away.
launch a Kickstarter, and it's gonna rock. So
Good.
That's
All right.
So that is like totally music in the for me, like if I move my meter from like independent artistry and having a live band, it's like pointing it to the left and being, now I'm going to take some sounds and put them in an art gallery with images and sounds that I feel are interesting and connect with that space. So I tend to wear a lot of hats. So
That's beautiful.
Maybe that helps. I'm more versatile, I hope.
If the wall doesn't get built, it's going to be because of Aimee Bobruk.
Dang,
Yes.
I'm like shooketh.
So that's why you should send money to your Kickstarter campaign. Let's
That is
stop
going to be
the wall
launched in January.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Well, it's not so much stop the wall.
I know,
It's
I'm
more
joking,
of
I'm joking, yes. Of
Well,
course.
it's more like what is it like?
Yeah.
What is this region like if we strip away so much of the attention that's been brought to building of a wall or the narcotics? And it's an attempt at trying to show that I've learned so much about the border since I've been traveling there. I've been taking trips about every 3 weeks down there.
Oh, wow.
The longest record for hang gliding is that Falcon Ridge area in Eagle Pass. Like they I think it's something like 300 miles. Also, the nation's top birding sites are down there.
Oh, wow.
Birding sites?
sanctuaries, for migratory birds.
Cool. Okay.
I was like, what is birding? Is that like, is it being a bird? Is that like, because it sounds like a scary.
That's where you go to be a bird.
Right, but I'm confused. Like, is it like for birds to migrate there, or is it they study
No, I mean
birds?
just they stop. It's a common place where they stop for the amount of species in a certain area is very, very rich there.
Okay.
That's amazing.
And just this last weekend, I got to hang out with some Kickapoo
Oh, wow. Okay.
Indian folks.
So you're going in to make little trips and to help you start to plan more for
Yeah,
when you make
I'm
the trip. That
basically
makes sense.
scouting the
Your
road
homework,
and just kind of looking to see what pops out to me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now,
it is interesting, you know.
Yeah, are you going to be interviewing other artists along the way?
I am
Is
a
that
few
part of
visual
it?
artists in the valley right now.
Wow.
And I'm crossing my fingers that I'll have an aerial flight along the border.
Okay.
From out in West Texas near Terralingua.
Oh, wow.
And I've ridden some bicycles along the levees there, and I've been invited to ride in a canoe. So I'm excited.
What inspired you to want to go do this? Because this is a massive undertaking, right? And you have to secure funding for it, pull the right people together.
Yeah, I'm pretty crazy. It's been maybe a healthy sort of stress, but I think I wanted to do something that was. This sounds maybe ridiculous, but I wanted to do something that was larger than an album.
Okay.
So much of I feel like if I look back on my career and it's writing songs that I've felt emotionally connected to or that I feel inspired to write, and then kind of doing the formulaic, okay, go play some gigs, have a CD release, go take a tour. Now I spent a couple of years really throwing myself into writing songs for other people.
Okay.
And now I decided to, I want to gather information from a very certain region. And it wasn't it was inspired mostly because it's close to home, and I just have a tendency. I'm a big time swimmer, and I'm usually always drawn towards the water in some form or fashion, and it just stuck with me. At first I thought, and then 6 months later, and a year later, and then a year and a half later, the idea was still there, and I was like, okay, this is something I need to really. Yeah.
It's just going to turn into a tumor if you don't do anything about it.
That's right.
It's going to be a little creative. That's crazy.
But then it's not like I've got this there's been this kind of adventure thing, I got I had some things happen in my life, and I got a dog, and I got a motorcycle, and those were the healing factors for me.
Good for you, yeah.
So I kind of went with that motorcycle theme, and then I guess there's a little Anthony Bourdain coming out, but I had to say to even use that comparison because he gets to just eat a bunch of food and travel.
I know his dog is amazing. I am so jealous of Anthony Bourdain's life.
I think I'm cuter than Anthony. So
yeah, we would agree.
He looks like beef jerky,
we would
but
agree.
he gets to eat whatever he wants.
Maybe I need some more tattoos, but I mean, I was like, oh man, I could go out there and be like, from the artist's standpoint, and be like, what are you making here? Why did you choose to paint this here? And what is the meaning of the story behind it?
I think those are great stories that don't ever get told, and so it's a chance for you to connect with them and give that to the larger world. So
usually, I think my rule of thumb is if something sticks with me for more than a year, it moves from just
there you go,
an idea to okay, I'm going to put this into action now. It wasn't just a phase.
Right.
Did you find yourself along the way making leaving little breadcrumbs to make it happen? Because sometimes when I procrastinate or sleep on an idea for so long, I will eventually just left myself enough traps to have to do it. You know what I mean?
How many loaves of bread have you gone through?
Do not judge my carb intake right now, young man. I feel like it's not that it's more of a putting a fire under your own ass kind of thing. I'm terrible with that shit. So if I actually stack up the evidence to make it in my hands, it's now I really have to do it. I need to turn this into something, or else I'm going to drive myself crazy or want to kill myself for never finishing that shit. I hate that. I hate not being able to finish the project. It's bad.
I think we were talking about earlier before the show. We were talking about your sponsorship for this show.
That's right.
And trying to find new ways of funding and just community support.
Yeah, that's right.
So the big fire that I put under my ass was applying for the City of Austin grant, which is a cultural contract, which literally I have to sign with the City of Austin, and I received a small grant, and now there's this sense of this is going to have to happen,
That's
in some
great.
form of, and of course I have my idealized A plan, and then there's some versions in between, and then there's well, if everybody leaves me and it's only me on my bike, I'll take my GoPro and this. Then there's and then I'll rent this venue and just get a bunch of wine and we'll just have a party and we'll talk about the border and
the end of the jerk, right?
Yeah,
You're and all I'm gonna take is this, and I'm gonna take my lampshade, hop on my motorcycle.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of interest. So I can honestly say it's the first time I've ever done something that is not so focused on money that I've saved or ask fans to contribute to, that is primarily my music. This is no, there's actually 12 or 15 people along the border that these are their lives, and I think giving a face to a region has a lot more power than just negative press and negative press and negative press. Because I've been pleasantly surprised. I mean, I'm from East Texas, and my entire life nobody was like, "Oh, you should go hang out at the border, or you should go, you should go out to Del Rio and check that scene out, or go out to Eagle." I'm looking at the map and I'm like, I've never heard of these places. I've never been. Nobody's ever told me to go visit. So, and then I'm getting there and I'm like, man, there's a whole lot of history there.
Yeah.
Just tons.
Well, it's become I'm from the Midwest, and it's not even, it's like a joke. It's not funny, but they're no, you can't go, you're going to go down to Mexico for a vacation, like have fun getting kidnapped. And it's like, what's wrong with you? Like, why is this a kind of dialogue that's surrounding that? Because they're not even anywhere near it. So it's not a real place to them. They don't associate it with real people.
Yeah, we get scared to talk to other cultures, I think.
Well, yeah, and then they bring up this like humor out of the fear, and it's like, I think it'd be really important to see music and like kind of exposing the people, like putting a face in a culture and like, I don't know.
Speaking of music,
Yeah.
should we do another song? And if you're, because this is such a really great conversation, but I know we have a lot of fans that are watching online and in the room. So we're gonna hear another song. We're with Aimee Bobruk, and if you just tuned in, send in your questions online. When we come back from this song, we're gonna start asking Aimee some more questions. So let us know.
This one's called Secret. Can you keep a secret? Tucked away inside. If you can, I'll tell you one of mine. Darling, if the word got out, I sure would look the fool. You know, people talk around, and this is such a small, small town. Can you keep a secret? Can you close and lock the door? Then throw away the key, dear, without asking what for. If you can't, I understand. It takes a certain kind. If you can't, we'll stop right here before I get too close and you too near. Something in your smile whispers to me, maybe you're the one. I felt it for a while. My lips are sealed, but baby, you're the one. Cross your heart and hope to die. Swear by any name under the sky. Now come a little closer, tiny little secret. Move a little closer, tiny little secret. A little closer. Ooh.
Very nice.
Love.
We have some questions coming in online. We actually have a comment here. You have a fan from Hiroshima, Japan, apparently.
Yes.
So yes, Shuichi Iwami. Yeah. He just says, is it he or she? It's a he. So thanks for sending your comment. And he just says, cool, watching from Hiroshima, Japan, and say hello, Aimee, if you get a chance.
Oh, I will say hello. And I'm wondering how his project is going.
Oh,
he was
okay.
working on a book about Austin.
Oh,
recently.
really?
Yeah, he was here. He was visiting a few folks in South Austin.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right,
So
cool.
hello, Japan.
Plug.
One day, get me out there.
Yeah.
That'd be fun,
cool
man.
place.
Get that tour going.
That'd be
no
fun.
kidding.
That wouldn't be bad. I think Roxy Roca just got back from that. We should get you connected.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
That's
fun.
good.
This is why we do the show, friends. That's why. Making
That's right.
connections.
Firsthand.
And we have one from Mario.
Yeah, Mario asked a question. What's been your favorite place to visit along the border so far?
Oh my God.
I know. I got to be careful, right? This is a tough one.
Well, this says a lot about me. Pumpville.
Oh, okay. What did you love about it?
Pumpville is a ghost town that is truly a ghost town.
Okay.
And it was basically the old set of tracks that was built, I believe, from San Antonio out to El Paso on the railroad.
Okay.
And they had steam engines. So it was a small town that sprouted up because of the railroad itself.
Yeah.
And then once the steam went to a diesel engine, the town dissolved. And there, when you go there now, you see a bunch of remains of buildings, and there's a Baptist church that holds a service and a railroad track, and it was this very strange feeling of standing somewhere thinking like, there once was a community here, and now, like I couldn't help but wonder how many people just passed that sign, and there's not much information on it, and it's just like, wow, like it's just a turn away, and yet people pass it all the time. And to me, it's very the whole theme of boundaries with the Texas Border Project. The rivers move. I mean, they're dynamic. The Mississippi is a deltic river. It's not supposed. It's actually because man has tried to hold it in that has caused so many issues with flooding.
Yeah.
I mean, if they allowed it to be a true delta, it would just simply move. People just shouldn't live along it.
Yeah.
It should be allowed to just move and snake around, right? But the idea of boundaries being like, kind of like invisible ink. They're there, and then all of a sudden, oh, the railroad's here, and then, oh, no.
Yeah.
It moves down. You know, it moves down like 10 miles or something, and it's somewhere else now.
Yeah.
And then societies move with that. I think it's just very interesting.
Well, yeah.
And it's just fun to say, Pumpville.
That's true. Not for any other reason.
I like that.
But we heard a lot about those challenges, those issues this past year with the election, right? About a lot of these towns and the way things have shifted in the economy that happened. So it's got to be a challenge for you to be, at this time, taking on what may be considered some of a controversial project with probably what you're going to hear and see, right? Does that worry you at all?
It doesn't worry me because I don't have a political agenda with it. I think it's more revealing to see what the people that are living there say about how it's affected them. A lot of them that I've spoken to are quite against the building of a wall.
Yeah.
I mean, they do want stricter borders, but they just don't think a wall is the way to do it. And also in one I had a sit down in Laredo with a group of artists, and I was surprised by. I asked the question, like, how many of you have either been affected directly by violence or a family member or someone you know, and everybody raised their hand. I mean, pretty much the idea of severe violence it impacts people's lives down there. So that's getting super serious, but I was shocked by that because, you know, it's everybody has a story, and some of the teachers have students that have, you know, brothers and sisters, they're just gone, you know.
Yeah, and I imagine if we should have you on the show a year from now, right, when you're back, and you know, to hear about the experience, right? Because I think it will probably impact you and change you as a person, probably how you view things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like visiting entirely another culture.
There's just everybody I've met has been incredibly warm and friendly, and more than willing to give me a stroll around town or tell the history.
Yeah.
And it's nice. I mean, the food is amazing
Oh, yeah.
and calorie packed.
Yes.
Yep. Maybe we can send Becky Joe down there with you. You can just ride on the back, and we'll do the whole comedy musicians.
I will do
traveling.
nothing but just food dance all this.
Food dance.
I'm not the only one who does that. Like who dances when their food gets delivered to the table.
We do have questions about who's people travel or things traveling with you, items traveling with you. And one question is, so what kind of dog do you have, and is he or she going to be riding with you on the trip? And this came in from Shelly Haynes, who's in our studio audience here. Yes.
Oh, I have a good old mutt.
Nice.
He's a 25% Great Pyrenees.
Okay.
Cute.
And he has a Staffordshire coat, so he looks kind of like a tiger. He will not
Cool.
be riding with me.
No, won't make the
I
trip.
believe he will be staying with his trainer during that time.
That'll be tough.
I've taken him on some road trips, but I think that
That's
might be
probably
a little.
a big dog, right?
He's not that. He's about 55 pounds.
That's still good
I do
size.
have the romanticization of getting like the sidecar and
Right.
putting the goggles on him.
Oh.
I was picturing Becky Joe in the sidecar with the scoop, the little Snoopy thing going. Yes,
I probably
the
just
scarf.
I'd like fall asleep and end up all completely outside of the thing. It'd be bad.
Yes.
What's the dog's name?
Crow.
What is the dog's
Crow?
name? Crow.
His name is
Okay.
Professor Crow.
I love that.
Professor
CROWE. Yeah, I had to be like fancy, so I added the E like Russell Crowe and Sheryl
I
Crow.
like that.
That's pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah,
make it fancy. Put an E on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Professor
so cute.
Crow.
Professor Crow.
So shifting gears a little bit, you're still teaching? You're at the Austin School of Music, is that
No,
right?
I'm not there.
Oh, okay.
No,
So,
I
yeah.
take some private students
Do you?
where
Okay.
I live, over in Clarksville area.
Okay.
I have a few songwriting students
All right.
and piano and guitar. So
All right.
Yep.
How many hours a week do you teach till then? And are you taking any new students? Right, we should let folks know. If somebody is listening locally.
I am. I'm taking new songwriting students.
Okay.
No more guitar and piano.
No.
And teenagers and up.
What's
So.
that like teaching, especially younger ones, the songwriting process?
Well, I mean, that's why I mostly teach teenagers
Yeah.
that want to do that. I've been lucky enough to do some workshops, mostly in Denmark or Sweden, based around songwriting. But I think that's. I've had a few really personal conversations with a few of my teenage students, and they seem to have a lot to say, and they'll come in with often pages that look more like journal entries and a sense of a melody, and then I try to just help kind of strip away the themes and kind of put it in a shape for them.
Oh, okay.
And I've had a few go on. I have a student right now at Berkeley.
Oh,
She's
that's
in the
amazing.
songwriting performing program, so
That
yeah,
makes
it's
you feel
very
good.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I taught her for about a year, and I would go over and we would co-write, and then I hooked her up with a great friend of mine, Clay Connell, who used to own the Roadhouse Rags here, and took her in the studio, and I hired a band to be behind her, and she sang and played guitar with a professional band for 3 songs, and then she put
That's
that out there,
great.
so it was cool. Yeah.
That's really cool.
There's like no pressure teaching students in the live music capital of the world.
Yeah,
Like there's no
Yeah.
pressure
Yeah.
in that. That's
It's got to be different too. Yeah, I mean here because
Yeah.
there's got to be pressure.
more
from,
perks, I would think.
I honestly think I'm lucky because I get to
Yeah.
I get to make music all day, and I get
Yeah.
to slow down and really remember. I think sometimes you can get caught up with like, oh, how do I get that next gig, or how do I take that next step
Yeah.
in my career? And you
Right.
can kind of lose sight of, oh, that's right. Like
Yeah.
I need to just slow down and
Make what I want to
and
make.
play a happy
Yeah.
sunshiny song, and remember that music is. It's actually
Meant to be.
It's actually very telling because I've had to teach a lot of cover songs that I normally would never choose to listen to again. I might hear them on the radio, but I never like sit down and learn them.
Yeah.
And I'm shockingly surprised with how just simple and straightforward they are.
Oh,
so
sure.
to me, like actually in my own writing now, I'm like, you gotta get out of my way.
Oh yeah, I can
Let
see
me just
that.
think about that Bruno Mars song there. Let me think about that
Yeah.
that certain pop tune that's
Because a
you
lot of
know.
your stuff can be fairly complex. I've seen written comparisons to you to like Bjork and some of these other I would consider very.
Oh man, Bjork is like she's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm not Bjork. No, she's
But
quite,
that's the closest comparisons I've seen when I think about some of them that are on the other end of that spectrum with some more challenging type music.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
music is. You know who I've been listening to lately that I dig a lot, and I think if you looked at it in notation or on paper, or even production-wise, when you listen, is Alt J.
Yeah.
I
His
love
stuff is
Alt J.
amazingly complex,
Right.
Yeah.
production-wise. I mean, it's like Bach-like.
Huh.
He changes palettes of sounds with backup vocals and instrumentation. Often every 2 to 4 measures, a new sound or a new construction will be there.
Yeah.
And that is like, to me, it's like, it's constantly something new.
Yeah.
Like constantly there's some sound and it's incredibly complex, yet it's so tangible too, so.
And to keep it cohesive, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in a sense,
I mean,
yeah.
who knows? And I mean, I love super simple songs too, so.
Yeah. Let's switch to another song? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Let's do that. All right. And send in your, let's do a couple songs.
Okay, well, I'm going to do a newer one. Talk about simple. This is a simple. I've been writing a lot of AAAAA forms. It's a dirge.
Let's hear the dirge.
A dirge, a slow. It's called The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, which is the title of a Carson McCullers book, my favorite book in all the world. And this will be coming out next year on a short 6-song EP. The heart is a lonely hunter. The heart is a lonely hunter. In the dark, empty streets, in the long summer heat, that's when you feel it. A lonely hunter. The heart knows the ache of wanting. The heart knows the ache of wanting. Try again to explain, but your words fall in vain on the souls of the people who know the ache of wanting. The heart is an old piano. The heart is an old piano. In the worn ivory keys lies a fond memory, and you're lost in the echoes of an old piano. The heart is a restless hunger. The heart is a restless hunger. All it wants is some truth, be it deaf, be it mute, or sweet solitude of a restless hunger. The heart is a silent room. The heart is a silent room, like a swollen machine. It'll feast on your dreams, but nothing will satisfy the sound of a silent room. The heart is a restless hunger. The heart is a lonely hunter.
empty streets in the long summer heat. That's when you feel it, the lonely hunter. In the dark empty streets in the long summer heat. That's when I feel it, I'm a lonely hunter. That's when I feel it, the lonely hunter. Some people search high, some people search low, others sit in a lawn chair saying, I don't know if there's rhyme and reason to the things that be. Then what's the purpose? What's the meaning? At times it starts to feel like a crossword puzzle game. We're guessing at the letters of something we can name. I don't want no preacher to tell me where I stand, or how I got here. I'm a rational man, but still I wonder, what's it all about when all this beauty makes me shiver inside? The question starts to fade and my lips follow along to that good old phrase that Louis put to song. What a wonderful world. I've got this door leading to my heart. I try and keep it open. For the most part, I am the seeker, crossing through your fields. I'm unpeeling a grapefruit. I'm watching for what this life reveals.
Nice. We had a couple more questions that came in from our studio audience here. Question from Jennifer Haveman. So thanks for sending in a question. The question is, have you written any songs from your border travels so far?
I have not so far. So this is always fun to explain. I may have something like what you just heard come out, which is kind of more of like a more message-based narrative storytelling song. But actually, usually when I'm writing lyrics at home, I have a tendency to listen to what's called ambient music, which is sometimes Well, it's just to build ambience, and often it's can be based off of field recordings, which is any sort of sound that's collected outside of a studio. So this project is going to be more about collecting the sounds of like the Rio Grande, like I'm recording the sound of the water, I'm recording some bridges, I'm recording sounds of markets, and I'm going to use those as the palettes for constructing what may be a little more kind of instrumental type music.
Really cool.
So I've just been gathering. I've been in the gathering stages right now. So basically building a sample library to pull from. But I'm not going to be surprised at all if some sort of overarching narrative song comes from that. But the Kickstarter comes out in January, and that song is a guitar and a bunch of sounds, fences and washing machines and environmental sounds that I captured. So that'll give you a better idea of what it sounds like.
Now, do you get inspired by the sound or does the sound that inspire the song itself, or do you have a song in mind? You're like, oh, I need a good bridge. Gotta go out and find some good waterfalls.
Literally on a
Well,
bridge.
no, I mean, they kind of match. So, I mean, this
Okay.
last trip, I crossed the Pecos River, and that was one of the largest bridges in North America for really a really long time.
Okay.
And I recorded that bridge, and what struck me was, there's a canyon below.
Okay.
And from the time the car approached to the time I couldn't hear it anymore was a good minute and 15 seconds,
Wow.
which is
Okay.
really long.
Yeah.
So to hear that, I mean, that sounds, maybe that totally bores some people, but when you also make that drive to try to explain the landscape of a Texas landscape that changes from an urban setting to, you got to make sure and get gas or you're going to run.
Yeah.
You won't
When you
make it.
drive on the border and in West Texas in general, you're just totally blown away by the amount of space there is. And so that inspires me, the space and the length of time, the distance. So
Okay.
those are just questions I'm asking. I'm not a super technical person. I'm going to be leaning on some friends that are more experienced mixers and sound engineers, but that fascinates me.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is like the market. I've been into some of the flea markets down there that were just like crazy sound. Walk in, there's like a bands on every stall, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And
How cool, right?
and I don't speak Spanish, so again, there's the language.
But it allows you to immerse yourself in it, and then I think to tie that together is another good part of the story.
Yeah, it's also just I think a way that I would approach it as a musician. So it's just a doorway to walk through. Yeah.
Another question is a question here from Shelly Haynes here in our studio audience. A question: did you go to the Mississippi River for the concept album songs tied to that?
I did. I took that trip. There were some things lined up in my life that didn't happen the way I thought they would, and I took that trip because I needed to move. Like motion, I found helped me. So I just put my guitar in the car and my camera, and I just followed that line on the map, and that ultimately that trip up the Mississippi. When you look at it on a map, you can get from New Orleans to St. Louis. If you drive all night, I think it was like 10 or 12 hour drive or something like that.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's great.
But I took 5 days getting there. So
nice.
at one point I was lost up on an army barrack. Like I was like, oh, where am I? And my phone wasn't. And it was kind of nice to just be lost. And I didn't have any obligations. I didn't have anything pressure. I didn't have to. I could just meander and wander.
Just take it
and I
in.
found that to be very freeing and kind of healing in a way. Yeah.
That is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And if you're sending your questions, but we do have a few minutes left. Yes, we do have. I'm going to switch over because I know we have some people who tune in to watch Linda's mom's
my mom
questions.
tunes in to watch
Yes.
this. So my mom
So, yeah.
watches every week, and it's her favorite thing to do is to call me and criticize the day after about how terrible I was and how the questions that I should be asking. So
She
we've
never
been
criticizes me. I don't. Yeah.
No,
I'm
no.
Can you
I'm
not give
starting
her my
to worry
number just in
about.
case?
I might. But basically, she had some questions last week that were holiday themed. That if you watched last week's, is it up yet? Is
It's
the
up with Eric
one up?
Betancourt. It's live now,
I
yeah.
loved it. I thought I had the best time. I thought it was super fun because he just hated every single one of my questions. And if you're watching Eric, I'm sorry, but it was just a train wreck in the most epically beautiful proportion. Ben and I were giggling about it for like 20 minutes afterwards. It was great. So I'm going to ask some of those questions. They're somewhat holiday
We're going to
themed.
redo, yeah.
But I also have a couple of new ones. And one that was inspired by, sorry, Linda, my older sister sent me a meme today. So one of those is this question.
And these are rapid fire.
Yes. They're just going to be as quick as you think. Like, it's going to be really dumb, real easy, not necessarily pain-free, maybe. Okay. So, do you have a favorite Christmas song?
Yes.
And it is?
Why can't I remember the title of it? It's a really dramatic one.
Can you sing it?
That his precious way through he himself is called to shake. The gates
What?
That is awesome.
It's like a very.
Mario, get
Whatever
on
it
that.
is,
Someone
that is cool.
Shazam that.
I should know it from my favorite. I actually just sang it in choir when I was a kid, and it was just really powerful.
And your least favorite Christmas song?
Christmas time is
I also really hate that Christmas shoes song.
It's really depressing.
Yeah, it's stop.
It's actually, but if you take the melody and speed it up, it's actually
I bet it's quite
nice
pretty.
and
But
jazzy sounding, and it's really beautiful.
it just makes me want to sleep.
It's a group of kids that I just want to be like.
It's the musical
I love
form
kids,
of
but
eggnog.
like get on the pitch. Stop.
It's true. I know, little kids are so cute until they can't find their damn key. Not cute. Okay, do you have a favorite drunk uncle that you like to people watch? This is my favorite question, Aaron.
That likes to people watch.
That you like to people watch. I don't know why my mom worded
Do
it
I
like
like
that.
to people
Yeah,
watch?
like I just assumed she would want to know who your favorite drunk uncle was or aunt.
Do I like to watch one of my drunk uncles?
She worded it like that, like people watching, like we're at like an amusement park or something and we're staring at people. No, I think she means who is your favorite family member to get drunk with on the holidays
Oh.
or watch get drunk. I guess.
Oh,
That's good.
I think that might have to be, my dad.
See?
Or
Yep.
That's always a good
my
choice.
Ooh,
Oh, a sister-in-law.
that one's
That's
fun.
good too. Yeah.
You can gang up
All
on
right.
your brother.
Are you gonna see them next week, or are you going back?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have
my
fun.
dad has a very low tolerance for caffeine and alcohol. So I've seen him the opposite too, where he walks in and my brother walks up and goes, "Drank 2 Red Bulls."
Oh no.
And I'm like,
Dad's on speed.
And he's off. Yeah.
Who wants to take apart something in the garage?
Yeah. I just built
Whoa.
4 new sheds in the
kind of
backyard.
the opposite. Yeah.
Do you have any weird like family Christmas ornaments? Like we have like a bunch of really ugly ones that my mom doesn't hang on the normal tree anymore, but they were like, shit we made when we were little kids. They're not on the real tree anymore. Thanks, Mom. They didn't match the aesthetics.
I think I have the classic, like I have a brother and a sister, so my mom, has our baby portraits on there.
Yes, and like the footprint.
yeah.
But we also have
great.
like themes, so we have like the Wizard of Oz characters.
I love
which are
that.
Cool.
I
We have
love
Winnie
that.
the Pooh.
Yeah.
So some of, I don't think we have any ultimately like super cheesy. I think I just know it's Christmas because Mom is like, it's the Bailey's time. She loves to drink Bailey's.
Yes,
yeah.
actually,
So
that's
my
really
mom
like
will always
good.
drink the Baileys.
Awesome.
that's a great. I mean,
And I
like,
don't really have a strong, like, I try the eggnog and blah, 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 but, like, it's like, it's Christmas when Mom, like, just
Has the Baileys.
pulls out the Baileys and there's, like, you open the
That's good.
fridge and there's Baileys.
Awesome.
have you ever done like a Christmas recital and or like do you have any embarrassing childhood Christmas recital memories?
I've done Christmas recitals, but I don't have any embarrassing.
Right? Like, I really wish my mom would have filmed me. My sister sent me a picture. I'm going to put it in the comment. My sister sent me a picture of my nephew at his Christmas recital the other day, and I'm using this as a platform to plug that because it's the damn cutest thing I've
your
ever seen
show.
in my life. But the last and final question of the Linda Mom questions, which is kind of was just answered, but it's not the holidays until blank. What in your household? Is it the Bailey's time? Is there anything?
Oh,
you
there's
do?
always a breakdown moment.
Right.
There's always a breakdown moment when, man, I hope Mom's not watching. If it happens that every other year we all gather at my mom's house, and now that my brother and sister both have, around the 5 to 3-year-old, a 5 and a 3-year-old, like each of them, 6 and a.
That changes
So at
dynamics.
some point, there's
Yeah.
like we've clearly planned that we're gonna call out for pizza.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, food starts appearing and then there's a big debate about, well, I don't want to call for pizza.
Oh my God.
The kids in the movie, and it's like, is the movie and the pizza, and it's like an hour later, there's no pizza, there's no food, there's no movie, and it's just not
And
really
kids are
moving
melting
anywhere.
down.
Yeah, it's like meltdown.
And everyone's drunk on Bailey's.
Yeah, and then
yes.
and then of course it's like, just someone walks out of the room, and then it's one sibling turning to another saying, I just think And then there's another sibling going to talk to the parent or the other sibling who's having, everybody has their issues. But you know what is my tradition is I like to have a White Russian at the Cloakroom here in Austin. And I also like to watch that movie Home for the Holidays.
Oh, nice.
It is so good.
That is good.
Yeah. It's a classic.
Yeah, my favorite is.
So when can we join you at the Cloakroom?
It already happened.
Oh, all right. We all missed it.
Happened. Yeah.
Next year we'll find out.
Next year I will tell you. It's a bad sweater, so you can come for sure.
Right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to invest. That is a bad sweater.
I just touched my microphone and Ben's plotting my death.
That wasn't the worst one.
Well,
That wasn't the worst one.
thank you, Mom Linda. Those were a great set of questions.
you.
Fantastic. And Aimee, thanks for coming on the show
Hey, thanks for
tonight.
having me.
We're
Thank
so
you
glad.
very much.
And when do you leave? When do you officially leave on the trek?
Well, I can tell you right now, the Kickstarter comes out in
Okay.
January.
Yeah.
And February right now is the trek
Plan. Okay.
is planned for February 1st.
Yeah. And how many miles?
Altogether, the Texas border, I think, is around a little over 1,200.
Right. Okay.
But that's like technically like following the border.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a little more than that because it shoot down to some roads
Yeah.
and cut up. So
That's a long haul.
yeah.
Well, I know we'll be watching the journey, so
Yeah,
I hope it's
check it
a
out.
very safe journey. And I think it's great that what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then people can catch it at the Violet Crown when it's ready and it comes out, the whole documentary. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it'll be. We have a sponsor from the Violet Crown here in Austin, where we're going to be
Cool.
able to show that, and also the main exhibit will be later in next year in
Yeah.
September. So I'm still working on securing that.
Nice.
But all the information and if you want to be up to date on it, can be found at thetexasborderproject.com.
Yep.
And also, I'll be posting on my own personal website, AimeeBobruk.com,
Yeah.
about the
so
project. So
Please follow Aimee if you're watching later. If you watch the recorded version, if you're watching now, please follow Aimee online on her Facebook page and check out the Texas Border Project. We're pretty excited about it. I know we're going to be following her and watch for that Kickstarter campaign because we think this is important, especially I think what's going on in the world right now. It's an important project. So
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
guys
coming
having
on,
me.
and
Thank you.
please like and share the show. Hey, we're taking the next couple weeks off because I know you're not going to tune in right around Christmas or New Year's. But hey, we're going to be posting our past shows. Are going to be coming out our next couple weeks, so check those out and check out our YouTube channel. We thank you all for supporting us. We're going to be back on January 9th with Jamie Harris right here, so tune back in. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody here in the studio audience for coming in tonight.
Thank you guys.
We will see you guys in a new year. See y'all.